Good evening, Free Enterprise fans and Rando heads. We are here with match after match after match. Tonight, here on Randomania 3, we have got Eykir versus Superpiccolo, both of whom went 1 and 2 in their group stages and are now traveling down that hook route. Neither one a stranger to victory, not looking for first blood tonight, but you don't want to drop even one L on this hook route, so we should have a really good match. I'm Invenerable. With me here in the booth is Bad Karma. We got Demarine running the show, and Gundam Pilot Spaz tracking. Bad Karma, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to another great matchup. We have a ton going on tonight. Another exciting hook route in the highway to the Threemus zone with a Porum start and some spicy objectives that could be really jetty, but all of them, all but one, requiring some key items.
Yeah, that complete the Antlion nest. I don't think anyone's going to be fading that one today, but I love to see a required Twin Harp. We love getting that Eddie music. And a Super Cannon. Interesting. I mean, maybe we end up with the Harp or the Tower Key up on the moon, and then we actually get a real spicy seed. But like you said, could be super jetty. Could find everything we need early, and then just blast off to a Zeromus fight, sub 90 minutes. Ought to be good either way. How do you like a Porum start on these flags?
I don't mind the Porum start. It's good to have a known white mage in the seed. We've had a number of races where the white mage could not be found until very late. Having that early white mage is definitely going to allow for a little bit more survivability in some of these root fights. Being that we have the C Relax, could get an edge right off the bat here. I'd really like to see an edge or a Sid to kind of help that Porum along.
Oh yeah, with the C-Relax, you get that starting edge, you can go pretty much anywhere in the overworld you choose. Although again, with that completely Antlion nest, will not be surprised if we take kind of a semi-vanilla route through the game this time. And everything else will just depend on how the characters fall and how the key items fall.
Yeah, that Antlion nest, always a good place to stop. A lot of treasure there with the T Wildish flag on. And really easy boss fight, depending on, doesn't matter which group of characters you got, should be able to take that down.
And just a reminder for everyone watching, this is the hook route. A group of players who went 0 and 3 or 1 and 2 in groups are in this route playing Swiss matchups. At the end, anyone who's 3 and 0 or 2 and 1 gets 2 shots or 1 shot at getting a coveted seat at the table. So, very harsh route, but someone's going to make it through it. Why not one of these two tonight, right?
Yeah, and this is just the first week of the hook route as we're getting started here. So one of these two could be going in the next week 1-0. Will be going in 1-0.
And we got a Telestart, a Sparklet Beigen, and a Rat Tail. Rat Tail, of course, can't turn in until you get a hook, so no telling when, if we'll be able to turn that in at all. I kind of like the Telestart. You immediately have access to exit, so for some of those awkward places to loot, like the Watery Pass, well, now you can go as deep as you want to and get right back out instantly. The one character to start knowing exit as soon as you get them, except a full-powered Fu, and we're not seeing Fu. He's not full-powered even if we were. So not a bad start, but we definitely want to get a melee fighter somewhere around here.
We do have free characters on, so that waterway is going to have somebody waiting for him. Top of Damsian, Mysidia is going to have 2 characters waiting, so there's still a lot of value out there to be found. As we have Eykir dropping into Baronan and Superpiccolo heading over to Mysidia.
Yeah, Eykir looking for some loot and some information. Superpiccolo says, no, I want to round my team out now. I need someone who can punch. We have the Elements dining with Dark Knight Cecil. Cecil, of course, a mixed bag on this flag set. And we have the Twin Monks.
You said someone who could punch.
Well, maybe a little harder than that, but, still extra bodies on the team to take the hits that the small child and the old man may not be able to.
Yeah, unfortunately, they're going to take a little while to get beefed up, as this entire team looks like it's going to take a little bit. Hopefully, there's some more value waiting for them. Maybe a Quack Kid who could get leveled up a little faster, maybe an Edge, maybe a Sid to really help this team out.
I thought we were going to see a high five, but Piccolo flies on past Watery Pass. And Eykir finds a Rydia here. Someone else, very squishy small children who admittedly can gain power overwhelming in due time. We did see that Cecil back in the Baron Inn. A curious character on these flag sets with vanilla agility restored, like it was in the days of Zima Zone 1. Cecil, kind of a mixed bag.
I'm personally a fan of Cecil, even with the vanilla. That's just what I'm used to. You have to understand the black magic that is agility manipulation, and I do not. So I'll take that Cecil, as Superpiccolo found a Dwarf Axe in the Damsian basement to go along with that.
Oh yeah, Dwarf Axe fantastic. It'll back row glitch, letting any of your 3 main axe wielders, Cecil, Kane, or Sid, do full damage from the back row while taking half. And that Sork Robe, fantastic piece of gear, +5 to both white and black magic stats. And hey, more Cecil. We have at least 2 Cecils available in the overworld in case you want to anchor one and let the other one get beefy.
A lot of people have heard about second Cecil. I definitely take that second Cecil.
Well, maybe a little happier to take him if you find a curse string, although that Dwarf Axe also has a -5 penalty to agility, so that'll get one of your Cecils very nicely anchored as long as you don't level them up at all. So, not shabby.
Yeah, and when I go with 2 Cecils, I'm definitely keeping one down as much as possible. Unless I get lucky and find 2 crystal swords, then my entire strategy just changes completely.
Eykir here doing a full loot of the Watery Pass. I haven't seen anything too exciting yet, and only one chest in the final room. Mage Masher, not the worst weapon, Mute Knife, as it was called here. Gets you +5 to the black magic cast stat, and does quadruple damage versus mage types. So kind of a utility weapon, but nothing here that really stands out as OP.
Probably the best thing being that source robe. That's in game defense for that Porum, that Tella, that Rydia. My apologies for that.
Nah, kid's gonna kid. We're all adults here. Well, kinda. Uh, I just imagine it's the sound of this Rydia and this Porum having a good time.
Yeah, like I was saying, that Sork Robe is really going to provide some great defense for him early on to keep him alive, get him some XP.
Yeah. Shockingly spicy Black Sword here in Antline Cave, since Superpiccolo did get that Dark Knight Cecil up at the top of Damsian, actually getting his ultimate weapon. It has the instant death proc quality. It gives a whole bunch of stat boosts. It actually makes Dark Knight Cecil pretty viable for at least overworld checks.
Yeah, and also finding the Cat Claw for Yang, it's good weapon, but we know Yang's really got to take a while to make really good use of that Cat Claw. Didn't put the Black Sword on to his Dark Knight Cecil though.
I mean, you can equip it in combat if you want to, if you want your other party members to be faster instead of slower. Because Cecil will be the anchor here, and if you speed him up, it'll slow down all the rest of the team. And yeah, like you said with Yang, his damage formula is primarily based on his level, but if you're taking one of these to the end game, Cat Claws can be very nice. The huge boost to strength and agility, but of course, like all Yang's weapons, their damage, no damage. Damage doesn't matter. Level counts.
Just some stat claws, just like the stat sticks for the black mages. It will eventually get to those levels, 40s, 50s. He'll start hitting for 4 digits. Just not going to help us now all that much.
Yeah. And we do see some re-equipping going on here, getting that black sword swinging.
And Eykir getting the 2 Yangs and dropping his Cecil.
Interesting. Maybe a little disappointed when he finds that black sword up in Antlion Cave. But otherwise, again, Cecil being a mixed bag. Some racers love him, some racers hate him. Some say any number but 1, please. So perfectly reasonable decision. And we have completed our first objective. Antlion Cave is cleared, and we got a hook. We can turn in that rat tail, but it's looking like we may have a rough road to get underground.
Is another character check. It does get him underground though, but there can be a lot of root fights along the way.
One nice feature though is that it does give access to the Eblin shop, which Eblin Cave on S standard, which we are on for this flag set, means that Eblin Cave will have 2 tier 5 items in the item shop. These include coffins, hourglasses, Bacchus wines, and sirens. Very wonderful things to have to accelerate your gameplay and to help you get through that route if it is a little rude.
Every single one of those are something that I would be buying.
Oh yeah. So we know there's... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, Super Piccolo making that climb, going to see who the character is here at the top of Mount Hobbs.
Yeah, we know that you can't get an objective up here, but the character can be rather germane to your plans. We do see a Rose up there, kind of considered the superior white mage to Porum, but I'm not sure if fighting a Valvalis to get her is worthwhile. I kind of like the Fade here.
I nope that right away as well. That's not a fight you want to be taking right now.
Moving on to Fabul. Eykir has that Baberidia, so gonna get a random summon here. Not from the top tier, but we have a Shiva coming out for Eykir. We're gonna have some AoE options already. Well, needs a level. You're not gonna cast Shiva with only 10 MP, but should have that Rydia online just from that Antlion fight.
Yeah, and Super Piccolo found a curse ring while looting Fabul.
Oh, nice. You love to find one in a random chest. On S standard, they can be in any ungated armor shop, but you don't really want to take the time to check every armor shop in the game. So finding one definitely saves. Oh my god!
Ooh.
Did you see what I saw?
I saw it. Yeah.
That Leviathan. Yeah, Eykir may be behind on checks, but you get a few levels on this Rydia, and she will sweep your way through the overworld, which is real nice because you've not seen a Sid, not seen an Edge, not seen a Kayn with a big hit and stick. So that Rydia is going to do work for Eykir. Oh!
Wow!
Oh, do you need to do something with her until... Well, okay. Tella can have it for now until we hit 50 MP. As soon as that happens, though, yoink!
Mount Hobbs just, rewarding anybody who took Iridia.
Yeah, that is going to be major distinguishing between the routes these two racers take. And if there's something nasty down along the hook route, that Leviathan is going to be huge for Eykir.
Oh yeah, that will definitely make a difference in whatever's down there. As Super Piccolo found the Water Hag, not a spot you want to see Water Hag being a free fight. You'd hope to find that a little bit later, but gets through it. I did not catch what the king gave him though.
King gave an Avenger sword, but that's not what I think is important here. The important item was the tiara in the chest in the king's room. The only character we've seen who can use that Avenger is, well, Cecil, but he's not a paladin yet, and we've ditched everyone we've seen. But that tiara and that Stardust Rod together, that's plus 25 to the wisdom stat. Eykir's Rydia is going to be absurd, and I am here for it.
And there are a number of people who see that Rydia early on who, is like, I'm not going to take it. Keeping the Rydia is definitely going to pay out in Eykir's favor.
Oh, yeah. And that's one of the things about this T Wildish flag. You are able to find Leviathans in chests in random places. We won't see as much of that later, but when we get to the table stage. But for now, you can lean heavily into that Rydia for power overwhelming in the overworld.
Yeah, Super Piccolo starts to climb to Ordeals, wanting to get that Paladin Cecil to use that Avenger, wants to get the full spell list for Tella, finds a Sid on the way up.
Yeah, and ditches the Sid. Now, Super Piccolo's not going to have that much damage output here with his team, so we have to hope that the enemies aren't too nasty. Not a bad spot for Kenatsu.
No.
Kenatsu's interesting. There are places where you want to keep the water wall up because the waves are easier to deal with. There are places where you want to keep it down because the punches are easier to deal with. Here, this spot has like the lowest physical attack in the game. The punches are meaningless. And the most the wave does outright is about 100 damage anyway. So, no threat here. Nasty boss in the easy spot. You like to see this if you're a runner.
Yeah, Super Piccolo going to be dining on turtle soup tonight.
Meanwhile, though, Eykir playing catch-up, has the loot advantage, well behind on the checks, but I think this Rydia is going to really... I think we're going to see an overtaking here within the next 30 to 40 minutes. Yeah,
that Rydia is going to make do a lot of these checks once she can start casting that Leviathan, even here on Ordeals, because depending on if Eykir goes to Fabul first or goes right to Ordeals to get his Tele-Elvis spells, that Rydia is going to be ready to go.
Yeah. And it's a good sign that Eykir is not opting... Well, I mean, Eykir already has the Leviathan summon, so of course wouldn't be letting her nap to Oh, also, I just realized something else that's cheeky here. She got slingshotted from this fight.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have we have 3 characters at level 10, 1 at level 20. Level 1 Iridia gets 9 levels from what normally only gives most players 1 character's 1 level.
Getting their hook, and I believe that should be enough MP for that Iridia to start slinging Leviathans out.
That's 58. That's enough for 1 per fight. And chat pointing out that, yeah, the Stardust Rod, in addition to plus 15 Wisdom, also does a rather powerful Stardust attack when used as an item in combat. You'll get like 600 to 800 damage to all foes with that in the overworld. Clears out these bosses so quickly.
I know I've had to,
when you're fighting the alt gauntlet on ordeals. Sweep that thing.
As the commentators in the chat hate to see it this early, the runners love to see it this early. This is going to be some decent XP to power the group up, and not too rude of a gauntlet here. And that was an adamant from the Rat Tail turn-in that Superpiccolo is not done yet, but Eykir opted to do so.
Yeah, that's kind of nice. It is half of that objective 1. Interesting that Eykir moved the hovercraft, but didn't go ahead and take that route. I would be really paranoid here that I would get a pink tail from either Ordeals or from Baronin. If I move that hovercraft, it's because I really want to go ahead and see that character. So we'll feel a little bad if he has to move it back. But right now, I'm excited to have this Iridia online. I want that Stardust Rod moved over. I want to see like 3,000 damage waves here in the overworld.
Probably won't see it on this next fight, being the water hag, though.
Fair enough.
Eykir getting some ice claws, preparing himself in case he finds a Rubicant later on. And there's the moving of the Stardust.
Oh, yes. Oh, is she getting the Sork robe too? Give her the Sork robe too. Do it. Do it.
I think the Porm is still rocking that.
No, give it to Iridia. Give it to Iridia. I'm excited now. I am wholeheartedly on Team Iridia for the duration of this scene. I guess. Hopefully at least the Tiara will go on Iridia.
Oh, hopefully. Superpiccolo's still working through the gauntlet.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Marilyn, we already saw the football boss. We know it's Water Hag.
Yep, both blue robes found at 15 minutes in.
Yeah, I think that if Eykir gets the cursed ring and sets up properly, we'll probably gain a ton of time just on the gauntlet alone. The Superpiccolo does have that Stardust Rod whenever Telly gets a turn, but having equipped the Black Blade on Dark Knight Cecil means Cecil's super fast, Tella's super slow. When are we gonna get a turn, old man? When are we gonna get a turn?
Yeah, would need to unequip it now to get that Tella in there to help clear these out, whereas Eykir's just going to be, do 1 or 2 Leviathans throughout the gauntlet. We'll have the Stardust Rod.
I do kind of like the double Yang setup here. There's that Tiara. The double Yang setup's kind of cheeky for even like big mobs like this. It's just double kick, double kick, double kick. Boot to the face. Dies zombies die.
There's not many spots where kick is all that useful. This happens to be one of them.
Yep. We do see Eykir getting both the Tiara and the Cursed Ring. At this point, I'm tempted to like stop looting. Like, whatever. We're just going to let Iridia carry the rest of this game.
It's going to the bag of Fabble. So, do you climb more deals if you're Eykir?
Oh, absolutely. You got to Tella. You got to climb more deals.
We've been seeing a lot of people fading ordeals, even with a Tella in the seed. It makes sense, like for Superpiccolo with taking the Cecil, but we've seen a number of people maybe doing that check later.
I mean, right now we could also use the XP on top of that. Porum definitely wants more levels. She wants to learn Berserk. She wants to eventually learn Blink. Those are the 2 big spells that she gets at levels like 18 and 23 respectively, I believe. And honestly, just getting Riddy a few more levels to be tankier is also good. We're currently tentatively on a hook route. That is, of course, a spot in the game that in vanilla, much later, you're in the mid-20s to 30s before you go there. I don't fault either player for wanting to get the XP right now and choosing the typically relatively easy ordeal spots. At least the first one, usually utter piece of cake.
Eykir just dropped the tele for Sid.
Well, why are you on ordeals then? Get out of here, Eykir.
I would have swapped one of those Yanks for the Sid myself.
I probably would have too. Like, again, the thing about Tella is not his spell power. He's not drastically strong or anything, but he has utility. As soon as you complete ordeals, you have so many options, so many spells. And we have a cursed ring, so you can even level him up and he will be ready to anchor for you any point, anywhere in the seed you need him to. But the Yongs do end up being extra tanky, having tons of HP, and if you level them enough, you get really good damage too. My worry at this point for Eykir would be, what if Sirens aren't for sale? 10% chance every seed Sirens aren't for sale.
Could be that one, as Superpiccolo got the pink tail, so paying off on not having to move the hovercraft twice.
Oh yeah, again, always a thing to worry about. Like moving things around until you have to. Like, I basically accept now that if I check a rat tail and I'm like, I should go peek Eblan Cave, I know I'm getting a pink tail before I go underground. Like it's going to happen. The seed knows.
Although the best ones are when you turn in the rat tail to get the pink tail.
And our restreamer Demarine making a really interesting observation that the pink tail could end up being a crystal sword, in which case we have a really great like asymmetrical warfare seed going on here. We're gonna have Eykir with the Rydia, with Leviathan and amazing stat sticks to go with it, versus Superpiccolo with Cecil, who admittedly bad anchor, but a crystal sword Avenger kind of situation. Ooh, I don't know which one I actually like more here.
And Superpiccolo doesn't know that there's a second Cecil in Baron Inn.
It's true. That's true. That's true. But I think we're about to get a twin tail check, and then nope, never mind. You got a hook and two tails. Where are you going?
Maybe not wanting to come back to this side of the world for a while. This is Superpiccolo's first trip here as well, so doesn't know what he's got ahead of him. Is going to see that Cecil and maybe be like, huh.
I mean, honestly, I would go ahead and I would automatically take the Cecil, and I'll tell you why. So one thing with the Avenger glitch is that if you swap to the Avenger mid-combat and you don't take an action after doing so, you just let it activate on its own, you retain the properties of the weapon you had equipped prior. What this means, though, if you have two characters who can equip that weapon, is you let one get Avenging, you go, here, you can have this sword, give it to the other one, you can end up with two Zerk, Crystal Sword, or X-Scout. Heck, I'd even take a Defender or a Lightsaber. Two Zerk Cecils at the Zeromus fight doing work, even if you have them at like 28 or higher agility. So I ditch a Yang and take a Cecil here 100% of the time if I'm Piccolo.
Yeah, and even without it, there's still a lot of seed left. We're already halfway to the Forge. Once Superpiccolo turns in this rat tail, there's going to be an X-Cal, probably. Good chance of it. So yeah, I would definitely go along with that line of thought.
And we do see here, although Riddy's a little slow here to get to the Stardust Rod, but taking advantage of item properties, using the Gaia Hammer, the Earth Hammer, pardon me, to cast a weak version of Quake, which sweeps through this Alt Gauntlet just as well. Kind of digging the Sid pickup now in light of that item that he had hanging around. Ooh. We've had one Leviathan, but what about second Leviathan? And we do see second Cecil joining the team. Now, if Piccolo goes to Watery Pass, I wonder, he didn't get the Stardust Rod, he did get the Tiara and the Sork Robe. I wonder if he swaps someone out for the Rydia if he goes there. If he goes there.
Well, yeah, it would depend on if he wants that Rydia. The Stardust was at the top of Hobbs.
Yeah, so definitely not going back there, but interesting, interesting interesting choices both players have to make with their party comp.
And that's one of the things I've been enjoying about just even in the group flags that I know is just going to get even crazier in the table flags once we get the perma join and remove C-buy is the people choosing their parties and how they go about choosing their parties. It's just been really interesting to me.
Oh yeah, C-buy saying, well, you can take them, but whoever you ditch, you will never see them again. Table flags upgrading to permajoin, saying, choose, but choose wisely, because you don't get to change it. Ditching the Rydia. So there's good and bad things here. Good news is you can now sell that Leviathan for big money, no whammies. Bad news is you don't get to cast Leviathan for big damage, no whammies, and you get.
Piccolo.
There's a little guy on an island who loves tails. Loves tails.
Ooh.
Maybe there's a little bit of tunnel vision going on here. I don't. Oh, I see what's happening. Superpiccolo wants to find a big hit and stick for Cecil, which I can't fault that plan at all. But the Pinktail could have that for you.
High chance for tier 6, tier 7 loot out of that Pinktail, and included in that.
Here, have Kane's ultimate weapon. Oh, you don't have a Kane.
Listen, Kane gets all the spears that Cecil can't use. Cecil gets all the holy swords that Kane can't use.
Cecil wins. Gotcha.
But they share everything else.
Eykir gonna get the mixed bag news of that Pinktail saying, hey, where'd you put that hovercraft? I'm sure we'll see a pretty quick check on it as well. Doll's here, no threat. Doll's not a threat in a lot of places, especially if you have access to Toad or Stop. But this is fine. Papagaya Drum, be on your way. Speed over efficiency.
Yeah, a number of ways to have gotten through that fight. Probably just getting the J item out, considering that they have a reusable Gaia drum on that Sid.
And Superpiccolo here, escaping unscathed on the left and middle towers, but still going into the east one. I would be a little apprehensive. Like, I made it through here without getting a scratch. Let me cut my losses. Let me at least save my game. But apparently has a firm belief that he can take down any trap chest as well. Bold play.
Let's see if it pays off for him, Inman. Getting the first trap chest. Did find a life staff, so that'll really boost that Porum up. Does have the Avenger on that Cecil.
I would be a lot cozier here if I had like a firebomb or a big bomb, a Stardust, or even wait. Does Piccolo still have that Gaia drum that Eykir burned on the dolls? That would be good.
I'm not sure if used it on the gauntlet or not.
Stardust Rod used as an item will clear up the skulls at least, and then you can battle of attrition the Stellman as long as it doesn't put everyone to sleep. Eykir, meanwhile, okay, yes. I want to know what I gotta know what this Pinktail is. I gotta know. I mean, I don't hate it.
You wanted to Cecil swinging with, a crystal sword. You can still have that.
That's really funny, because, I mean, that would be super great for Superpiccolo, because of having the two Cecils. Eykir, of course, ditched the Cecil. May take the one in Baron in. Might change his mind. But he's committed to, like, the Yang and the Rydia combo. But Superpiccolo, a second Avenger, would actually, got through this fight. A second one would clean it up even faster.
Oh yeah, especially with the Mad Ogres still lurking. Those the Lamia and the Coils are also. I believe those Cecils just got slingshot off of that as well.
Yeah, was that more spear? That was more spear.
Yeah, it was.
I think it was a Dragoon spear if the split second processing of my brain calculated it. Thank you, Dr. Cossack, confirming in chat.
Yeah, I saw the icon. I didn't see the word.
That was super fast. Speaking of super fast, Eykir gonna have no problems with any of these Baron in fights.
Yeah, being the elements and then into the Kaipo guards. Not a big deal.
Kind of surprised to see a coffin used here. We don't get bonus XP from this fight for anything. So as long as you take them down, you're good. And also, I really would love to see some agility rearranging of these parties. I would love to see Rydia get to open fights with Leviathan or Stardust, depending on the degree of difficulty. Like if I'm gifted a Rydia with this strength, I want her opening every fight with power overwhelming.
Yeah, and that Sid has no problem going to the back row. Eykir threw that Dwarf Axe on him as soon as he got him, so...
I mean, some very tiny, angry ogres. Very tiny, very angry. They are not long for this world. Piccolo, by the way, really doing a great job of routing, not like, the path you take, but routing, like, utterly destroying your enemies. These trap chests, I kind of hope he gets a good payout from it, just because of how efficiently he's getting through it. Wait, no, Eykir needs that. Not... They're getting each other's loot. Why are they getting each other's loot?
Eykir reset out of that Cecil.
Okay, pick like if this were like a team seed and if this were a multi-world and you could send your loot to your teammate, both these racers would be so much happier.
When is multi-world free enterprise?
I cannot pronounce your name. I'm so sorry. If there's two Cecils, it follows the same as vanilla agility. When Cecil's not in the team, it goes middle slot, bottom slot, top middle, bottom middle. So for Super Piccolo, it is that Cecil at the very top that is anchoring the team.
Super Piccolo noped out of that last chest, not wanting anything to do with Lamia or Corals. Had two chests and didn't want to gamble.
I mean, I can see that. Like, I think that if I have made it through the first two unscathed, I may cut my losses and be like, okay, I didn't get punished. I got some really good money, if not actually good loot for my team. Let's carry on.
Probably looking to see who the character is, not taking any chests, not looking for those stalemen. I feel like it's probably going to be okay without the stalemen, but I'd like to see what some of this loot is. Super Piccolo, without the Rydia, is not going to be able to just power... Ooh, and there's a D-Mist.
Funny. Kind of a rude spot for a D-Mist, though. That spot does have a little over 25,000 HP, and of course the D-Mist does phase shifts where you can hurt it, not hurt it. That'll be a very slow and annoying fight for Super Piccolo, and you can't lean into your Avengers either, because otherwise you're just going to eat a ton of cold mists, slowing down your fight even more. Eykir looks to have the much better setup for that fight with the very strong Rydia.
Did find a Quack Kid, so maybe, nope. That did not take the Goomba.
And Eykir going down this route, if he takes the same trap chest, we'll find that Bahamut and be like, why did I bother with Leviathan? Should have sold these things. Give me the big summon. Finding the Mad Ogre's chest up in here. Super Piccolo already sized the triple Ogre chest earlier. Won't surprise me to see the same strategy here. Should be through this without issue.
Chat wanting to be very, very mean to our runners. Wanting that D-Mist to be a Magma Key. While we're waiting on these trap chests to clear out, if you haven't given our runners a follow, please do. They are putting on a good show for us tonight. Shout out to Demarine for doing the restream and Gundam Pilot Spaz for doing the tracking.
Smart play by Eykir here, using the Stardust Rod instead of Leviathan. Leviathan is a bit of a slow summon, and the combination Stardust Earth should clear up all the skulls here. Fantastic. So down to just the Stelman. That's an Ice Claw hit! If you are going to commit to the Yongs, buy your Elemental Claws. It's basically buying a tier 3 spell for either of them to make the Final Fantasy 1 comparison.
Super Piccolo finishing up, and Eykir is noping out of the rest of the chest. No, Eykir, you need to keep going.
I mean, Bahamut's great now. Leviathan's fine. Leviathan's fine. And with how that radio's equipped, you don't have to worry about it too bad. Like, Stardust Rod, Tiara, we're good. We're good. And Mechaling in chat, sorry, was looking at Eykir. Was that another... Oh, okay, another Bahamut. I thought you were saying it was another Dragoon Spear from the chest. Dragoon Spear from the Skull Stellman chest. Gotcha.
Right, the one we already knew about.
Yeah, I thought that was saying second Dragoon Spear, but no, second Bahamut. Wow. So many Dragon Lords.
Ooh, the value. Dancing Dagger, deep in the Tower of Babel.
Seeing those two Avengers sitting in Eykir's inventory just breaks my heart. It's like, oh, I want those, please.
Why can't I ever get nice stuff when I run these?
Gee, Eykir, how come your seed lets you have two Avengers? And Super Piccolo, meanwhile, finding two Bahamut summons. Like, again, it's hilarious, this, like, ships crossing in the night kind of situation when they do it. And that is a nasty, nasty King Queen outlet fight.
No Avengers on yet. Might need to reset and rearrange this party just a bit.
I mean, the good news for both our runners here is each of them did find the cursed ring up in Fabul in Sheila's tower. And that will help immensely here. Be able to make yourself taking turns 1-for-1 with Evil Wall instead of it just being like, well, okay. Lets you take turns 1-for-1 with a lot of enemies. Evil Wall cheats a little bit, does the whole start a chain, wait, my turn, excuse you. But will definitely help out. This first run at it, not looking too hopeful for Super Piccolo.
Yeah, Eykir's picking chests on the way. Just found a Soma drop for the Tella that they got rid of.
We know our restreamer Demarine loves trap doors, but wait, there's more from that sealed cave ready to do you dirty. And that is one win for the restreamer. every time a runner wipes, that's a win for the restreamer, right? That's how the rules work?
That's how I count.
Okay, good.
Ooh, the board face. Taking down that radio while trying to cast.
Marilyn's saying that the Leviathan or the Bahamut will be a huge asset for Eykir. Well, here's the other thing, though. Eykir did not keep a Cecil. If Piccolo wanted to, Piccolo could lean into that cover ability of the Cecils to protect the squishies. Although, if you're in the front row, that 1,000 plus damage here, not the dream.
Yeah, and losing Tella is gonna, because I don't think Super Piccolo's Porum has Blink yet. No, she does.
Blink with the Avenger on top of it may save the day here. Eykir gets a fine Hanzo steal from the Tailman chest. And this is honestly kind of a cheeky seed. We have all these free character spots, and Edge in play with the C Relaxed flag. Nowhere to be found. At least that's big money if we don't see one coming up anywhere.
Still got two characters up on the Tower Zot. Still got Dwarf Castle and Moon. But yeah, and a lot of Cane Spears as well.
Two points for Demarine. The cruelty unending. On the bright side, though, at least down here, you know that you didn't leave a demist hanging at Tower of Zot with a magma key. We do get to at least see that she's hanging out at the Ruby spot, so you don't have that lingering in the back of your mind.
And Superpiccolo walking out.
Interesting. I wonder if he's noticed, oh hey, I have a rat tail. I have a pink tail. I should go see what those are. But it's really the cursed ring that can save your bacon here, Superpiccolo. Lean into that agility management. You got this.
Not surprised Eykir passed on the Palom there. His Rydia is going to be carrying him and not necessarily needing the early Quake.
Yeah, we have great sweeping options. We have the Stardust Rod if you need something fast and low damaging. We have the Leviathan if you need a big bada boom, even if it's a little slower. I strangely agree with keeping the Rydia over Palom. I can't remember the last time I said that.
Yeah, chat pointing out that Superpiccolo has that Dwarf Axe on the Cecil, but I think that Cecil's not in the right spot to be doing that proper anchoring. I believe he's got the Cecil with the Dwarf Axe in the 3rd spot.
Oh, yeah. That'll just mean you have your top Cecil is slow compared to the wall. The rest of your team is slower, and then your nerf Cecil is slow-est. It's not a happy situation. But we do see Piccolo picking up the Rydia, maybe deciding to put these Bahamets to work. This ought to be interesting. And ditches the Tella for the Rydia. Okay. I'm okay with that.
Gonna have to do a little bit of work to get her up to snuff, though.
Yeah, but with the gear, like if Superpiccolo just loads her up with all the stat boosting gear he has, he does have Elven Bows that's +5, does have that Tiara that's +10, does have the Sork Robe that's another +5, +20 to her Black Magic, and if you just protect her till she gets a Bahamut off, ought to be able to get through the evil wall. But the real issue here, if chat, which I trust chat implicitly here, I've also never said that before. Sorry. The wrong Cecil has the agility gear. If you flip that around and cover with the other Cecil, that Rydia probably gets, or even just avenge with the other Cecil, you probably get that Bahamut off and get through the wall.
Listen, chat, don't take offense to it. I've watched enough of Invin streams. He rarely trusts chat because we just troll him really hard.
Chat is an evil, and it must be vanquished. Eykir taking down this Mad Ogre chest would be very pleased to see the reward here. Except that that Rydia is not in the correct position to be getting XP.
Yeah, she needs to be a little bit more freestanding, but the reward on that spot is that Bahamut Summit that Eykir missed from the Evelyn. The XP would be nice, but...
But will Evil Wall claim another player here? Again, Eykir doesn't have the benefit of cover strats. Does have the benefit of being able to organize his team a little more easily. Again, the Cecil situation, I think, may have thrown Piccolo for a loop. It's tricky. It's very tricky. That's why it was kind of included. As our restreamer said earlier, Zima Zone 2, so many victories were claimed on the backs. Was that another Leviathan?
Yeah, I believe it was.
So many victories claimed on the backs of Crystal Sword, Excal, Avenger Cecils, just ripping through the seed. No way to counterbalance their power. So the vanilla agility does that, but it also makes things a little nasty if you just accidentally rotate your Cecils. I've done some practice seeds recently where I've had them in opposite order. I go into a fight, I'm like, wait, other way around. And I have to take a reset, because otherwise I have a useless character, useless-er characters, and useless-est character. Like, I've done that within the last week. So I feel this. I feel this immensely.
Eykir threw the curse ring on that Sid, almost maybe forgetting there was a fight before demist, but definitely still the right play.
And that board face AI, knowing where the threat lies. Oh, you know Bahamut?
Not getting that cast off.
Jada Dragon asking, why do they skip a lot of the chests? So, depending on the zone you're in, a certain quantity of chests will be trapped, and our runners will likely have some estimation of how much XP you can get from this chest, what the loot distribution is, how good of an item can I get from this chest. And so, if you spent time looting in one place, you may want to avoid spending time looting in another, just to balance things out and try not to give your opponent too much of an advantage. Everyone has their own preferences in this regard, and you're just seeing each racer illustrating their own personal preferences.
Some people like to loot in the low 30s for treasure. Some people like to loot in the high 200s for treasure, like me.
You see here, popping some illusions here, excellent use, will protect from 2 punches from the wall. We do have 6,000 HP to chew through here. It'd be a lot easier if we could get that ready up. It's very difficult to do so, though.
Ooh. That 1200 hit on that Sid, although it is a curse string Sid, but still.
Yeah. And these Yongs, by the way, really showing off how badly they crave levels for their damage. While here with, a really good weapon on some folks, you may be breaking, 800, 900, maybe even 4 digits. These Yongs can't even break 500 damage on this wall. You really hate to see it.
Yeah, Superpiccolo definitely still needs to flip those Cecils. Came in with the right idea of having Rydia and Porum in low critical health, but the Cecils in the front row just cannot take those hits.
Yeah, and like Mechalink's in chat pointing out, Evol took 4 actions before you take one. That really has to indicate to you that you have your Cecils in the wrong order. That's still the wrong order. That's still the wrong order. Okay, I don't think punching's exactly what Rydia needed to do there. But we're getting closer. We're getting closer. And Eykir through the wall.
Yeah.
First try even. That looked real dicey for a moment, but pulling through, the agility anchoring made a huge difference. Even with the other problems in that fight, the board face AI knowing who to target, just the correct anchoring, substantial difference for these 2 runners. The 2 Cecils really throwing things off for Piccolo here.
And here's the D-Miss. This is 25,000 HP to chew through. Hopefully, this Rydia will get a couple of Bahamuts off or even some Leviathans. May not try it right now.
Yeah, I think this one here is going to whiff, just coming out a little too late.
Eykir's got to be careful about whiffing on these. I don't think he's found too many ethers or found them in a shop.
Oh, does make it out. Buffers enough inputs with the melee fighters on the team. And more importantly, Piccolo is through, gets a Bahamut off, and a nice Avenger swing.
Nice.
So neck and neck heading into the underground. Piccolo got here earlier, but Eykir with the agility anchoring helping out so much. 1 fight to go. Who's going to make it underground first? With these Avengers, not going to be that great. Unless you like a nice, refreshing Cold Mist over and over and over again.
Does have the Dwarf Axe on the right Cecil now. With how hot it is here, I could go for a Cold Mist.
Got some power punches queued up. Goes off a little too soon, but luckily, because it's not the fight command, it will not draw a Cold Mist counter. Not that it would hurt that bad, it's just annoying. I do like the moxie of trying to queue one up before you see the get ready to fight message. Timing that always feels super swaggy. But But yeah, Blink's demist, punches 3 times, goes to mist, comes back, punches 3 times. So Blink makes this fight completely free, and the Bahamut's going to chew through most of the HP here.
Yeah, unfortunately, Superpiccolo his best weapons are those dwarf axes. Not going with the Avenger.
I mean, you really can't here. If you go Avenger here, you are going to lose so much time to Cold Mist. Your best options in lieu of that would be to stop your Cecils, maybe. To stop or to... you could theoretically maybe try to Avenger glitch them a little bit by using the silver staff each one came with, but trying to take advantage of a glitch to save your bacon seems a little, I don't know, a little questionable. And did not save between Wall and Demus. Gonna have to get through this fight a second time. This terrifies me.
Oh, and didn't make the adjustment either to put that Cecil in the back row.
We do see Ether 2s in Eykir's inventory. That's great. Gonna enable him to get a few more big bada booms out with Rydia this fight. Should make things significantly easier.
I thought I saw Superpiccolo walk back to the save after Evil Wall. Chat pointing out maybe just went back to tent, but the Demus fight will refill your health and MP right before it.
That first hit, leaving Cecil with enough HP to do a second cover, Evil while trying to punch Rydia twice. Misses on the next hit, takes down Porum. Will this Bahamut with 10 HP and a dream be enough to finish off the wall? It's not enough.
Nah, man.
And Evil Wall claims another victim. Demarine with the nasty, nasty King Queen Evelyn fight tonight.
Missing the Stardust Rod from the top of Hobbs is really going to hurt in the long run.
Yeah, plus 15 ain't nothing to scoff at. Uh-oh. Seen a lot of misty action over on Eykir's side. Got to be careful queuing up those plane attacks after the third punch from the Demist. Do you have a Cecil in the back row now? Much better for doing cover duties. I like the Cure 2 going on the top Cecil here. Guarantees a second cover, well, if he doesn't get punched directly. And that Bahamut from Eykir seals the deal. Demist is dead. Gonna be the first one underground. Had a little slower start at the beginning of the seed, but that Rydia has carried him to the advantage in this situation. Don't let anyone badmouth that tiny summoner. She's strong. She's strong.
Strong when she can find the summons that we've found in this seed. I cannot count how many seeds I've gone without seeing a Leviathan or a Bahamut.
Touche, touche. But now the next important question, and this is something that I would do. I'm not saying this of our runners. How long till you remember you just beat Demist and turn in the item?
If it's me, I'm checking just the freebies and I'm going right back to the overworld to do Sheila 1, get that Fey March chest, and then do the Demist.
I hear being like, oh wait, I left my stove on. Oh no, I forgot to peek the boss. Takes a quick run in, sees CPU there. Actually, one of my least favorite spots for CPU. That spot has like garbage magic power, so I love to see a magical boss there. But not like that CPU. Not like that. Percentage based, not what we're going for.
Gonna have a decent amount of health too. That Bahamut's not gonna be doing some one-shotting.
Yeah, it'll one-shot the lesser orbs, but then you're eating Globe 199s to the face, which even with the relatively low magic attack there, will still one-shot anyone on this team. Looks to be checking some freebies instead. Maybe going for Sheila 1 and D-Mist at the same time. Gonna feel real bad when you get a pan from D-Mist now, right?
You always feel bad when you get a pan from D-Mist. Or a pass from D-Mist.
Right, 88 damage to a Cecil. That's the number we want to see from Evil Wall. Low numbers. Low numbers.
Yeah, that damage on that Cecil's topping out. I've seen as high as 250 and as low as 40. So hitting either side there with those hits.
Yeah, but the anchoring here is just Evil Wall getting so many actions. Really need to break out that Cursed Ring. Cursed Ring. Low-key best item in Final Fantasy IV.
Hoping for another low roll here. Does not get it. But
Gets
it's down.
through thanks to the Bacchus wine, the Drunken Master Yang. Meanwhile, Eykir getting a Luca Key. Not the most useful item on these flags. We've already seen D-Mist. In fact, D-Mist gave us the Luca Key. So you don't have to worry about D-Mist hanging out at the Evil Wall spot. Although they do seem buddy-buddy this seed. You do have to... I mean, you just have to make sure you have Warp and go to Dwarf Castle. And Rydia learns Warp at like level -3. Something really low like that.
Yeah, I believe Eykir had Warp after that antline fight. Heading over to do the Sheila 1 check as well.
Yeah, getting the freebies out of the way. You never know if one of these will be your Twin Harp or your Tower Key, and just save you a bunch of time rather than having to fight through things.
Oh,
Hey, you could have kept that for selling, Eykir. I know you've ditched every Cecil you've seen, and I hope you learned your lesson. But it's still good money. It's like 65,000 being sold, right? 62.5,
yeah, something like that. Yeah, but does still have the Cecil and Baron in. Eykir reset out of that.
That's true. The game's basically saying, hey, buddy, you want a really strong paladin? You like those Avenger? You like that Avenger? Would you like a crystal sword with? No, we're good. We have summoners and blankets.
Just gonna even reset. Not even gonna take it to sell.
Oh, goodness me. Something tells me Superpiccolo will not be resetting out of that check when he gets there.
Oh, I doubt that highly. And with the D-Miss out of the way, not only Octomammoth, I think, is the last boss that will be resistant to that crystal sword.
Absolutely. Eykir teasing all the fans, no job door for you. But the good news for Superpiccolo is that is a crystal sword. If Superpiccolo gets a handle on his agility manipulation, which having passed that evil wall is kind of mostly taken care of, barring a rude wyvern, Superpiccolo has crystal sword into Avenger, crystal sword into Avenger for his Cecils. I think that outpaces Rydia even with the Bahamut summon. Has to do this one little bit, get through this one barrier, and I think Superpiccolo has the late game advantage with that combo. It is super powerful. I mean, you have to feel really rough here with how many wipes it took to Evil Wall, but that Crystal Sword will forgive a multitude of sins.
Oh yeah, once Superpiccolo sees that crystal sword, he will have a grin on his face with what he's got.
I'm really excited to see this because, again, you know, the asymmetrical strats here. We have one team that is leaning heavily into Rydia, the other team leaning heavily into Paladin Cecil, and the scene's giving you tools for both. Stardust Rod, Tiara, Leviathan, and Bahamut. Avenger, Crystal Sword, thank you.
tons of Dragoon and Crystal gear around. Tons of, I think we've seen a couple of bandanas as well. Those Cecils are going to be swinging hard and swinging often.
Eykir had left a tiara on that Porum earlier, buys a second one here to slap on Rydia. Pretty little princesses ready to do tons of work.
Eykir can probably take this Dwarf Castle, I think, right now.
Oh, I think this Bahamut summon's going to do like 6,000 damage now. It's Stardust Rod Tiara, like. But again, the agility manipulation. Like, if you can adjust your setup here to put your Rydia in slot 2 with your cursed character or cursed Dwarfax character in slot 1, you can open these fights with Bahamut and just fight stun. Oh, did you want to take a turn? Sorry, I'm Rydia. I am here to kill.
Finding the Baron Guards here in the Dwarf Castle, that's going to be a very free fight with either of those two summons.
Oh yeah, it's real nice because, of course, the HP gets split between both guards here. Or you could just coffin because Rydia is slow and will not be getting her turn for a bit. Although she's not slow, she's just ill-positioned.
Superpiccolo getting the Cold Mist, did throw the Avenger up on one of those Cecils. So slowly getting through the fight. Will be slowed down a little bit because of that Avenger, but we'll get through it easily, I think.
Yeah, the tricky thing with the Avenger is that unless you do a very... Well, it's not that precise, but... So, if you want the Avenger's attack power, this is how you do it. You wait in your item menu until the enemy, or one of your teammates, is doing anything with a nice, long animation. And then you very quickly equip that Avenger, get back out, and choose either... Well, you can even use an item command. You want to use any command. You want to actually execute an item, you want to defend, you want to attack, change rows, whatever. But the entire point is that between equipping the Avenger and the animation completing, you want to execute a command. This will tell the game, hey, what am I equipped with? And it'll say, oh, an Avenger. This is your attack power. Saw Dusty Griff do it in a race recently at the Threemus fight. Real subtle, but real potent when you don't have a really good opening weapon to put on your Cecil Arcane.
Yeah, the fear going into a Threemus fight with that Avenger equipped is that could be doing nothing that entire fight.
Yeah, you really don't want to Avenger glitch your character, Mimic glitch, as it's sometimes called, into doing nothing. Baron Key from the Sealed Cave, completely in logic because of that Luca key we got from D-Mist.
Opens up a couple of checks, opens up a character. And what's little Luca got around her neck?
Hey, that's a required item. So we got a tower key. We know the boss at the luggage spot is CPU. Kind of awkward for Eykir's team. We do have a couple of Yongs who can only be back row glitched by doing another glitch, the sneak glitch with an edge. We've not seen an edge this seed. So as far as taking down CPU, this is going to be a really awkward fight. I would not hate a Penguinator special here, doing the tower key alone and saying, no, I'm good. I don't need to do that fight. It is an objective. It's kind of a cheeky play, but with your party comp, it might not be the wildest decision made this tournament. And yeah, Piccolo here did get the Berserk status going, but you'll note that is not Avenger Sword damage. We're doing, I believe, only like Dwarfax damage with it.
Yeah, the Dwarfax was what was on there at the start of the fight, and didn't do the steps that had been described earlier, so doing Dwarfax damage. Still not going to die to this fight, though, I don't feel like.
Oh yeah, plenty of MP left on the Porum. The Cold Mist does piddly damage. We have the Cecil in the back row covering everyone. There's no threat here except the time that you're spending.
Lunar Sparkle in the cannon room?
D's Lunars, not a whole lot of threat. These Yongs that both came with Fire Claws will easily one-punch each of them with just a normal strike, if we still have those equipped, and that 1309 makes me think we do.
I think that top one actually is rocking a Cat Claw and Ice Claw.
Oh, pardon me. Well, they both did the exact same damage there. That's kind of funny. But I wonder if Eykir says, CPU seems really annoying. I'm not going to bother with it. I would be fascinated to see this play, and honestly, completely on board with it. I mean, nothing's really much of a challenge at that spot, which is one of the nice things about that spot. The sacrifice you make is in time consumed. And there is objective 4 for Eykir, but is marching upstairs.
Ooh.
I think this is going to give Superpiccolo a decent chance to get back in it. If Superpiccolo gets that Crystal Sword, we'll have a much easier time with the fight at the top of the tower. Back row glitch Cecils will be dishing out tons of damage to the orb, while Eykir here not going to be doing all that much work to the CPU proper.
And chat pointing out, Eykir swag walked up there, didn't save, so only has a save at the bottom of the tower.
I mean, the fight's not a threat. You're not going to wipe here. You're just going to take like 6 minutes to do it. Although, I suppose you could be real cheeky and try to just multiple Bahamut your way through it. And just eat the Globe 199s and try to kill the defender before it heals up too much of your handiwork.
Yep. 16,000 health, I mean, not the worst idea.
Hey, Bahamut's coming out. Eykir just saying, whatever, I can take an orb. And Piccolo making his way downtown, walking fast, faces pass, and I hope those Yongs are homebound. We could use a Crystal Sword for this team.
Didn't peek the boss at the top of the tower. Doesn't know that he's got a CPU waiting for him up there, but just booking it. I mean, to be honest, though, Superpiccolo is not that far behind. And even getting through the hook in an hour is still pretty good. You know, with the team, even having to go back and get the Rydia to get through the Evil Wall. I don't know if Superpiccolo really feels behind right now.
Oh my god, Eykir, like, just destroying the CPU. The orbs going to the wrong places for the board AI. Gets a Sand Ruby. You know, did either character even go to Kaipo yet? Either player, pardon me.
I don't think so.
Yeah, so maybe someone spicy there. Who knows? Who cares? Sand Ruby's a key item, though. We're getting closer and closer to that 10 key item mark. And if I am taking 2 Yongs and a Rydia to my Zeromus fight, I would like those levels. Levels, please.
Still has a free key item check down the Fey March. Eykir is not marched down there yet, and possibly going to get another one on the way out.
Can I get our peek at the rat tail chest here? Well, maybe not.
Not quite.
Ah, Piccolo, you tease.
It does look like Piccolo is done looting. Skipped all the chests on the way down here, skipping all these free chests here in the Fey March. Sees
Baron has conquered the Fey March. The Dark Knight reigns on high with Odin at his side. I hope you found some Thunderclaws for the Odin fight. And as for the other one, that is... Oh, Party Rock.
Oh.
Nice. So that Dark Knight Cecil spot hits so incredibly hard. I believe we've seen him there several times in the past week. So I feel pretty confident saying that's 1,100 to 1,300 a pop. You either need some Cure 3s or you need a lot more levels. The chest was the Earth Crystal GPS.
Yeah, so Eykir making the trip down to Fey March going to get 10 key items from this trip.
And hopefully, that we see the Yong check going on here for Superpiccolo. This is great news for him. This is going to lead him straight to that Crystal Sword, and it's going to make this Cecil keep very, very lucrative for him in the long run. Eykir already reset out of it, going to be a little disappointed, but maybe the Earth Crystal Treasury will give him some good loot for his teammates.
Superpiccolo also has both tails still.
That's true. Not turn either of those in, which honestly kind of shocking. Like you're always running the risk that that rat tail is your magma key, which, given how rough that hook route went, you have to worry about a little bit.
Second Stardust.
Well, I doubt Eykir's taking another Black Mage, but it's
No,
really good
yeah.
cash for buying those sirens. If
But
there are sirens.
Superpiccolo didn't loot the rest of the Feymarch, so didn't get that second Stardust. So has missed out on both Stardust rods that we've seen.
Well, but at least he's managed his team accordingly. The Riddy is not going to be the big DPS on his team. It will be the Cecils with the Avengers and the Crystal Swords.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. It's just interesting the different philosophies too, and what can be missed. You know, I say in chat all the time, every trap chest you pass up is a crystal sword.
And so I know we have Ice Claws. I don't think have we seen Thunder Claws for sale yet?
I have not seen them.
That makes a huge difference with that Odin fight. It's going to be super fast, and being able to do, quadruple damage with your Yongs would be ideal here.
Question in chat: where's the crystal sword? It is at the Sheila 1 turn-in.
Oh, and Sirens not for sale on the blue planet. If you want to grind that way, you got to get to the moon. Well, maybe. We're down to one item shop check that could possibly save it. I hear here about to find out just how painful Pain Man is at this spot. Are these Cure 3s enough? Gotta turn the battle speed down if you want to do that. Battle speed down does get Eykir through this. You queue up one on the top Yang, on the bottom Yang heals himself, and you get through it. But we gotta have a battle speed turned down to beat that Dark Knight with a punch. Or some really expertly executed run buffers. And Piccolo, you talk to Yang. Your crystal sword is waiting. Go get it. Oh. I really want these Cecils to be dishing out thousands of damage, and it's just not happening yet.
Still going to get rewarded with 2 keys. Won't have to come back to Dwarf Castle since there's really nothing in the item shops that Superpiccolo is looking for. I don't hate this. He's got coffins. He's got mute bells.
Yeah, but you'd be real sad if you were to get a pan here. And that cure's a little fast this time with the courtesy of the decreased battle speed. That Cure 3 is really great to see. Sid won't survive this hit. We really need Yang to get another turn and quick. If so, we should be fine. Oh! Missed it by that much. Eykir knows he can do this now. He got the Cure 3 off in time with the first Yang. He just got it off a little too quickly.
Bahamut summon out. Those Baron Guards are not going to be long for this world. So what's the count? Evil Wall has 4 and Pain Man has 2?
I lost count with Evil Wall. I think Evil Wall may have gotten up to like 6. Evil Wall took no prisoners today. I don't know. Maybe it was only 4. It felt real bad, though. The Dark Knight's at 2. I think the setup was right with the Cursed Ring the first time, just had to wait a little longer. We saw the Cure 3 go off before the first Dark Wave, so just waiting a moment longer. And the setup's great.
Ooh, gonna go,
Curious.
I
don't think this is happening without a Thunderclaw or 2.
Yeah, this is what, 25,000 health?
23. And Board says No. Oh, rude bosses all around. I know that the runners may be feeling a little frustration, but of course, you know, we do love to see a trolley seed in the audience, but at this point, it might have been a little too much. Luckily, I think Super Piccolo is very quickly. Oh no, Super Piccolo gets a tower key here. Piccolo, get your crystal sword. Go get it. We've had an entire seed of Rydia having Leviathan and Stardust and Tiara and Bahamut. I want Cecil to finally meet Crystal Sword. That's all I want.
Are we gonna get to play a rendition of Rate That Treachery?
Looks like it.
Looks like it.
Honestly, I think 2 Thunderclaws here makes it a 10 out of 10.
Oh, absolutely. I 100% agree.
Like, forget everything. I want a 550 gold piece Thunderclaw. That's all I want. Ooh, it's mostly empty already.
Oh, wow.
We've had 2 Avengers, yes. But what about 3rd Avenger? So if we didn't already have 2 Avengers and 0 people who could use them, I might be a little more excited about that. But I think we've already seen Life Staff. We've already seen Avenger. We've already seen Dragoon Spear. There is nothing new under the sun in this Troya Treasury.
Yeah, and Super Piccolo heading to the tower.
Yeah, Demarine in the chat. Is this the first time we've seen a Treasury with an Avenger and ranked it 0 out of 10? I think it's the first time we've ranked one 0 out of 10 with an Avenger in it.
Eykir, Flame Dog, goes down to that Ice Claw.
Where's the Thunderclaw? And Piccolo, you talk to Yang. Go home. Go home, Yang. Go home. More boss fights without that crystal sword. Piccolo, after he does finally go to Sheila, will be very annoyed with how much his paladin struggled through this underworld. Like, I love Crystal Sword Avenger Cecil so much. It's one of my favorite things. And we're not getting to see a lot of those on this flag set, again, because of the vanilla agility. And the scene's like, here, please. Look, even the damage rolls. We're saying Cecil is leet. He's leet. Send him... just go talk to Sheila. Oh.
Another free fight in a place you don't want to free fight at this point. You love to see the King Queen Evelyn up on the moon somewhere to give you a big boost of XP for free. Instead, at the Magus Sister spot, I must have miscounted earlier when I said once Eykir goes to the Fey March, they'd have 10 key items.
Nine is basically 10 for large values of 9.
Another city here at the Tower of Zot, not what you want to see.
And the second character? Well, there's a Rosa since you didn't want to fight Val, but honestly, I'm not sure I'd take her with all the levels I already have on Porum.
Yeah, I would be agreeing with that. Porum is doing things well for you. I don't think you need the Rosa.
The exception would be if I already had seen Sirens, then sure, because 1 or 2 Sirens slingshots her to viability in a heartbeat. But we've not seen them. Weird Seed. Sirens not for sale any Earthbound store. Eblin, the 3 underground ones, nowhere to be found. Is this the rare 10% where Sirens are not to be found on S Standard? We'll know when we find a Darkness Crystal.
I mean, Demarine rolled something special here, in my opinion. No Sirens would definitely attribute to that. Super Piccolo turning in his tails, getting that adamant. Gonna get another Avenger. Probably was hoping for that Crystal Sword, and doesn't know it yet, but as long as he turns in Sheila 1, he will get what his heart desires.
Very thankful it did not see a Magma Key there. If only for the sake of the race itself. I mean, that would have been absolutely horrific.
Yeah, if the Magma Key is there and I was Piccolo, I would be feeling so behind. But we know it's not there. We haven't seen it yet.
And the Twin Harp from the Tower of Zod gives Eykir not quite go mode. That may be our third objective, but we still have to find a pass or a darkness crystal if we want to get to the moon. And that Baron key still looms large. 2 key item checks there. And plus, the Feymarch bosses still at large. Eykir did not get through either one of them despite his repeated attempts. So Superpiccolo now does have the big bada boom, the hugest sword in Final Fantasy IV. The Crystal Sword is online. But a little behind on checks. Will this be enough to take things back from the power of Rydia?
I don't actually. He's behind from Zod. That's all he's behind on. He did the tower. He didn't do the bosses in Feymarch. So the time that Eykir did in with the Painman, Superpiccolo is pretty caught up. Only a tower of Zod behind.
Yeah, and Flying East will be on his way to play Oh! Curious. Are you going... Oh, had not checked that Mist Dragon yet. Gotcha. Luca Key here, of course. We've already done the Warp Glitch, so we know that's nothing doing. But I wonder if this will tempt Piccolo to go chase the Baron Key. If the Baron Key gives, say, Darkness or Pass and the Legend Sword, can put Piccolo right back in this. Otherwise, currently about a check and a half behind. Crystal Sword will do a lot of work on that front, though.
I'm trying to remember, where was the Sand Ruby at?
Sand Ruby, I believe, was the reward for fighting CPU at the luggage spot.
So Superpiccolo did the Penguinator special and just did the cannon.
Oh, really? Okay. So Superpiccolo does not have the Sand Ruby, you're saying?
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Gotcha. So 1 key item behind, that could also come into play this scene.
Yeah, because I didn't see Superpiccolo fight CPU.
And our restreamer pointing out that you get the harp, you turn it in, you get the crystal. Half the time I forget that you get the crystal as well, and yes, that is a key item for your key item count. But anyway, it's time for some Twin Harp music. I'm going to go radio silent. I want to hear this. You want to hear this. Let's get that groove on. Eykir claims his crystal to the background music of A Link to the Past boss battle. Not too rough of a place for Baigen here. You'd love to see him here instead of a really fast, really strong moon spot.
Yeah, getting the summon out. Not going to do full damage because of the high magic defense, but Bahamut's it's going to still do some work here.
Yeah, and Piccolo at this point really needs to hope that I would say that the path to Zeromus is behind one of those harsher Feymarch fights. If it's in Baron Castle, Eykir's going to have a bit of advantage here, has a team that can handle easy fights and then go straight for a grind. Piccolo has... Oh, nope. Nope.
Ooh,
This
that
is
is
very
go
interesting.
mode.
I maintain Piccolo has the endgame advantage. If you want Rydia to do work at Zeromus, you have to grind her to level 50. She has a terrible XP curve. We have the gear on her to make her really viable there, and getting her to those levels will make your Yongs super strong as well. Piccolo, on the other hand, has Crystal Sword. Crystal Sword. Crystal Sword. But he is a little bit behind, about a check behind. So this is, to me, is still anyone's game. And what does Eykir do for a grind if Sirens aren't for sale on the moon?
I think Eykir probably just does bosses. Has 10 key items. Going to get about 150 to 200k for each of those boss fights on the moon. Should be able to take them, a good number of them.
Everyone thinking, I should have kept a Tella. I should have kept Tella. You know who's great for grinding? Tella. Tella is amazing for grinding, and you all dissed him.
I did not diss him. I was just as surprised as you were.
Dark Paladin in chat contemplating swapping the Rydia out for Rosa. I like that as well, but that's because we know where the Darkness Crystal is. Piccolo, for all he knows, still needs a sweeper to take care of fights in Baron or even Cave Magnus. Bahamut will do damage. Right now, it's hard to make the swap to double White Mage when you're not sure what else you have to fight on Earth.
Did want to point out, Superpiccolo cleared Zot a lot faster than Eykir did, mostly due to that Crystal Sword.
Yeah, like, there's no doubt that this last part of the seed will be completed faster by Superpiccolo than by Eykir. The question is if Eykir has accrued enough of an early advantage to keep it until the finish line. I love Superpiccolo's team here for the end game, but Eykir's setup got him through that first half so much better. But
Yeah,
it's exciting. I love a finish like this, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, Eykir's still doing a little shopping. Superpiccolo is jetting through these things, not stopping for loot, not stopping for anything.
I mean, you have Crystal Avenger Cecil. What would you stop for?
You got me there. I got nothing.
But I am real curious about the grind choices here. If there's not a Tella or an Edge or a Siren shop on the moon, I mean, if there's a Siren shop on the moon, okay, problem solved. I don't want the problem to be solved. I want to see something interesting between these two.
They do both have Luca keys. They still could do doors.
Oh, don't say door grind when Demarine's the restreamer. Don't say it. Don't. You're gonna get her excited. Don't even. Oh no.
I'm pretty sure Demarine was already excited by this seed. I know I have been.
If we see a trapdoor grind tonight, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I just don't know. I mean, another trapdoor fight. What if it, like, every seed tonight just has like a subtle trapdoor grind, and we just only people watching all dozen matches notice it? Like, what if tonight is the night of trapdoors?
All the runners got together and be like, hey, everyone who's getting restreamed needs to do some doors.
We're about to get the moment of truth. Humming waves. No sirens. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Oh!
Yes! Yes! You love to see it. Here's like, where do I go? What do I do? Oh no, what's the plan? Oh, we got a reprise though. I'm gonna chill. Sorry, I got so excited about the sirens. Boo! Oh, well.
No!
Edge solves all our problems. We can take him back down to the blue planet, steal some sirens, and get our grind on that way. Is it comfortable? Not really.
Oh, I about had a heart attack there.
Didn't even take the gear. Like, I don't need your black belt gi. I don't need your bandana. I got trap chests and
Wow.
bombs. Let's do this the old-fashioned way.
I don't hate it.
Oh, no, not at all. Like, the fact that you don't have the pass, so you would be saying, I have to go back to Earth, swap airships, go underground, go to Tower of Babel, steal sirens, grind eggs, and one-shotting eggs isn't a guarantee with this team either. Like, it's not a real speedy situation. So, sure. I mean, fingers crossed this doesn't bite him in the behind. But it's a bold play, and I love to see it. Meanwhile, Superpiccolo getting the news. You are in Super Ultra Nitro Go mode. Oh, this is real cheeky. Going to a floor where the gold dragon chance is 25%. Did Eykir buy some, and landing one first try, did he buy a stack of hourglasses from, he did, 10
He did.
hourglasses. This is a great grind. It's not going to be super fast, but it'll be a ton of XP.
Question in chat. Didn't one of the runners find a Murasame or a Masamune? They did, but I believe it was sold.
Little annoying fighting these two dragons. We don't have a back row glitch on our Yang, and 335 damage ain't quite gonna cut it. I think these things, I know they have thunder resistance. I'm not sure about other elements. Bahamut's gonna do most of the work here, but if it kills both at the same time, you're not getting your life glitches off. It did not kill him at the same time, but Yang did.
Oh! The dangers of berserking for grind fights.
Yeah, but 4 and 5 levels of pop. This is going to get Eykir really great XP in a hurry, as long as he keeps landing the right fight. You really want to see the 2 gold dragons here.
A reminder that Can't Run is on, so getting a fight that's not gold dragons is just going to cost time.
Find the fight with the Bone Thug and Warlocky. More hourglasses coming out. 10 hourglasses. This is going to be enough to do all the grinding we need to. You just have to worry a bit. What's my opponent doing? How fast can I make it to the Zeromus fight? Is my Sid slow enough? Do I need to knock him down? Did I keep that Dwarf Axe? I got the Curse Ring. Is he slow?
Yeah, I believe Sid has the Curse Ring and the Dwarf Axe. Not throwing a summon out, trying to conserve some of that Ridium MP. That's a good call, I think, with these monsters stopped.
And real stand-up observation by here, knowing that this is the floor, that if you're going to hunt the double dragon, this is where to do it. Although I think if you have a Fire Claw, swap over and do bonus damage to the D-Bone with that. I think Ice Claw's halving his damage here. Like, I think even without it, you're doing about 17 to 1800 a punch.
Got the life glitch on the Warlock, so almost 100k experience there.
Yep. Not quite the levels I want to see. Particularly, you have to at least get Cure 4 on Porum. If you're not getting Cure 4 on Porum, you're saying, I can nerf every big bad. You don't try to nerf every big bad. That is for like Zilch and Edward.
Superpiccolo verifying he's got 10 key items and heading to Cave Value. Could be looking to pop some behemoths.
That little backtrack there really made me think that was what we were going to see. Do you have the crystal sword? Maybe unsure of exactly where the behemoths are, and is instead knows there are 2 here. That's what it. No. Didn't turn encounters on.
Ooh.
Going for bosses for XP, a noble plan, but the Bahamut Cave's not really where you want to do that. Bahamut, one of the lowest XP spots on the moon. It and the Plague spot are both just garbage XP compared to the other 4 options. So not exactly the best place to do it, and Wyvern not exactly the best option either.
Threw the battle speed down to 6 and heading right back in.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but Piccolo did not peak that Lunar Deus character either, right?
Has not.
Ooh, that edge changes things up so much. But it looks like Eykir is confident with these levels. Must have gotten that Cure 4, not going all the way to nuke on Rydia. I'm interested in how... Wait, where are you going? That moment of, do I go left or do I go right? Do I need more XP or are we just gonna wing it? Wyvern saying, I don't care what time zone you're in. Battle speed 6, battle speed 1, no thank you. Cecil's gonna make this really harsh. But if Eykir is making the run at the Zeromus with these levels, I'm kind of excited. Because that Rydia's not being the hugest contributor. The Yongs don't have quite enough levels to be dishing out tons of damage. Porum very low HP. This is a very marginal Zeromus fight, and we don't see a lot of these in the group flag set that we're still using. So this is going to be really exciting Zeromus fight on Eykir's side. Let's see if Piccolo takes the edge and goes and gets a Siren grind on.
Did a quick double check. Maybe wasn't comfortable with those forum levels.
Eykir hearing my voice 15 minutes in the future being like, eh. Like, oh, commentary thinks it's marginal? Maybe. And Piccolo also saying, no thank you, I don't want sirens, I'll get my levels some other way. Neither racer wanting to travel back to the blue planet, I can't fault them. This opens things wide open for Super Piccolo, but where is he going to get his XP?
My thing about it, I still would have taken the edge even if I wasn't going to steal sirens, because the level difference between Yang and edge is about 5 right now. That edge is going to end up doing more damage, I think.
Now, we did see that Masamune. Does Super Piccolo still have that, or was that only Eykir's side and he sold it?
I'm not sure if Super Piccolo picked that up. Hello. Oh, Eykir.
Not a good fight.
No, not a fight with only the mages having any sort of dragon defense. That's
And Fire Claws don't even get you bonus damage there. Blue Dragons, in spite of their Blizzard attacks, do not have a fire weakness. Eykir backtracking to that floor 4 shelf. Super Piccolo's looking at the dragon in the mirror, begging him to change his ways.
got through the 1 mega nuke, and there goes Bahamut.
More King Ryus for Eykir, getting lucky with these enemy spawns. Zeus calls for Super Piccolo. I'm liking where the vessels are going. I like what I see, but I still want about 8 more levels before I go there. Yeah, if Super Piccolo sets his team up correctly to get double Crystal Sword Zerker Cecil, even with Zeromus at relative 2. Like, you get them both to 28, and you roll in with the right setup here. I don't think you see more than one Big Bang. Not with double Zerker, Crystal Sword, even Zeus Gauntlet Cecil. Like, you have so much DPS that you don't have too much to worry about, but you have to heat that. You have to meet that base threshold first.
I didn't notice because I did just notice that Superpiccolo's main Cecil with the Crystal Sword is still using some leather gear. Did he take Edge's gear when dismissing?
Maybe not. Maybe not. We know Eykir didn't, and that bandana and black belt gear are super great. Both give fantastic strength and vitality bonuses. Vitality, not too big a deal, but plus 10 strength, yes. Give me your clothes. Normally I joke about Cecil being Conan the Barbarian when you give him like an Avenger with his base cloth armor. This time I want him to be I want him to be the Terminator. Your clothes, Edge, give them to me.
Definitely needs the clothes. As these our runners are, about 20 steps behind each other.
Yeah, but the levels here, the huge level advantage to Eykir, the huge gear advantage to Superpiccolo. I mean, Eykir takes one wipe here, and the ball's back in Superpiccolo's court. The gear is so good. Eykir still has Bacchus wines for his Yongs, right?
I believe so. I don't think...
There they are. Yeah. That's going to make a huge difference here. You really don't want Porum to have to do triple duty, like zerking and curing and slowing and walling. Like, you don't want her doing everything for everyone. So the Bacchus wine helps out a lot here. The HP on the Yongs helps out a lot. I'm still curious about this DPS. We'll see if... There are a ton of things here that can bring Superpiccolo back. But Eykir's running down here to the basement. And I think now is the time for the flags chat. Bad Karma, what's that question we got to ask?
Is it my bedtime yet?
Probably.
So one of the things we cannot randomize is where Zeromus is lurking in our seeds. So instead, because he's so powerful, we just change how he looks. And due to Scala Kitty, we have over 450 options. And so tonight we are going to ask, whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
Oh, and Eykir does still have that Masamune kicking around. That Edge is like, you're sending me home and not even letting me take the Hanzo still. Oh well. But yeah, this ought to be fine. This party's fine. Nothing can go wrong. What could possibly go wrong?
Superpiccolo taking this Octomammoth fight, the one last boss that is going to take half damage from that Holy Sword.
And also the Plague Spot, so not the best XP, but every little bit counts, and Piccolo only needs one wipe from Eykir, and Piccolo's gear can take this home.
While we're gearing up for this, we do have a question in chat. How does this group stage work? These players right now are playing to get to the play-in match for the table. So they need to go 3-0 or 2-1 in the next 3 weeks to go into a big battle royale match to see if they can get a spot at the table in this hook route. Going 1-2 or 0-3 here will eliminate them.
And that is Shredder. I think we said both Shredder and Krang in the last few weeks. I'm here for it. Good to see. That looks like the sprite from TMNT 4, Turtles in Time, if I'm not mistaken. I'm probably mistaken, but either way, love to see it.
You're not mistaken. I played that game quite a bit, and that Super Shredder, he's no joke. Superpiccolo picked up a spoon there.
I mean, more importantly, the XP is the real reward. That spoon's not going to accomplish anything with this team.
More reason that Edge may have been the better choice there, though. Oh, that Bahamut did almost quad 9s.
The danger with that is that virus... Well, okay, we have a shake now. The virus counter from summons increases the power of Big Bangs. So if you time it wrong, you can actually bump maximum damage on Big Bang up to 3,000, which even those Yongs don't want to deal with.
Now, I've never had to deal with that. If that were to bump it up, would you still be able to nerf it then, or is it set?
You would have to get another spell off before the Big Bang comes out.
Oh, Superpiccolo, I just realized, has the Dark Imps at the D-Lunar spot.
That's a beautiful source of XP. Get some life glitches here, and you're in business.
Yeah, both Cecils are swinging away right now. Eykir's doing about 2k with his Yongs. Yep, and working to get these Dark Imps down for Superpiccolo, while Eykir is trying to get through this the Threemus fight. If Superpiccolo can get this, couldn't get the extra life glitch. That could have been almost 7-8 levels. Wow, that is really interesting. I don't think Superpiccolo needs any more. As Eykir keeps chipping away at the Threemus, Yongs are both Berserk doing work. Porum's throwing out Cure 3s. And Superpiccolo should be joining in this fight here really soon. Nine agility for his Eykir. He's got the Cecil with the low agility in the right spot. Dwarfax and Cursed Ring. Another virus out. This could be. Oh, and there's the shake. If Eykir takes a wipe here with Superpiccolo heading down, we're definitely going to be seeing a really tight race here. But I think that is not the character you want to see go down right there, right before Big Bang comes out.
Well, we do have that Chemist Sid still on standby. Should be able to recover from this. Only Rydia should die to, well, if it's nerfed, not even her, this Big Bang.
Yeah, had the Bahamut summon out earlier, so did get the a Silk Web out to get that nerf done. Superpiccolo did get his agility all figured out. Has the Dwarfax and Cursed Ring on the middle Cecil.
Oh, I think I would rather not do that here, just because of how potent our Cecil weaponry is. Crystal Sword just says, no, we are going in strong. Warriors of Light, assemble. But, given the earlier issues with Evil Wall, I don't hate it either. Like, do what you know, do what makes you comfortable. You don't want to get off the rails at the Threemus fight due to agility concerns.
I have gone in here using a Cursed Ring, Crystal Sword Cecil before. It's still swinging for 3 or 4,000.
Oh, nice. I'm not sure how I feel about a sub 1,000 HP Porum, though. That's a little scary.
Yeah, unfortunately, Porum was dead at the end of that Dark Imp fight. Not sure Superpiccolo found the Cure 3s either. If that was the case, I would not be berserking this Yong. I would be using him as a chemist myself.
Feel that. And that is a crack, boom, flash. Baby Rydia with the good gear and the Bahamut summon, finishing off the fight. Who says you can't take a sub-level 50 Rydia to Threemus fight? I mean, usually I do, but I'm proven wrong. So Eykir takes first place tonight, beating out Superpiccolo, advancing to 1-0 down the hook route. A great start. GG's out in chat, and we'll see if we can get Piccolo in here for an interview shortly.
Eykir.
Pardon me, Eykir. I just flipped and I just repeated the last name I'd said. It's like, whoops, sorry. Brain bad.
As Superpiccolo getting into the big bangs here.
And that little Porum with the 983 HP surviving, saying, Nerf Big Bang ain't got nothing on me, let's go. No, what are you doing? The Crystal Sword is up.
Oh.
So this Avenger glitch will leave that Cecil with only the attack power of the Dwarf Axe. You definitely want to take a turn there with the Crystal Sword to get that attack power bumped up. It'll make a huge difference in this fight.
Still have the other Crystal Sword Cecil swinging away with that Avenger, doing the nerfing with the Yang.
Another Big Bang coming out.
Oh.
And both these Cecils are zerked via Avenger, so a black hole will not cure them of it. But look at this Crystal Avenger Cecil dishing out the damage.
I mean, combined, they're doing, what, 6-7K a swing between the two of them, and they're going fast.
Yeah. It's aesthetically pleasing. I can give it that much.
And will he get to the rocks? I haven't been doing my math correctly, so I'm not sure where he's at health-wise, but I don't know. I think that was
a reset.
Yeah, I think that was just some bad timing in terms of when the Big Bang came out, though.
And it's making a second run at this. Kind of surprising. It's real hard to deal with Threemus when you don't have Cure 4 on a mage, unless you're doing like Eddie strats or Zilch, or Zilch or Mecha Link strats, where you just roll in with characters who can survive a nerf Big Bang and make sure to nerf every Big Bang. But this Porum doesn't even have the levels to survive a nerfed Big Bang guaranteed. We do have really great gear. I think this is still doable, just depending on how you set your Cecils up. But it's going to be hard. It's going to be rough, that's for sure.
I didn't catch if Superpiccolo found the Asura that Eykir found. I mean, the Rydia still has pretty low health, but still could do some work.
Yeah, very well-equipped Porum, but just needs those few more levels to have Cure 4. Once more, under the breach. Curious where that Legend Sword ended up. Did that pop up on Eykir's spoiler log yet?
If it did, I may have possibly missed it. And we are joined in the booth by Eykir. Eykir, GG's.
Thank you. That was a rough seed.
Gonna go ahead and ask you the question that Demarine threw out in chat. How does it feel to be the first racer to kill Threemus with a Bahamut summon?
I loved it. I kept the radio that long because she was doing so much work for me. And if I had gotten a character to replace, it probably would have been her. But I didn't find anybody. I waffled on the edge at the end, but she was just throwing out so much damage with that Bahamut that I had to keep around.
Yeah, felt a little bad seeing that Masamune still sitting in your inventory, but I mean, you found the early Sork Robe, the early Stardust Rod, the Tiara in the Bull King's room. Leviathan was nice, and then getting Bahamut to upgrade it. The seed did kind of scream Rydia, but what did you think when you saw all those Avengers and that Crystal Sword? Did you feel like you had maybe taken the wrong path between magic and physicals?
When I got rid of the first Cecil, then they figured it was gonna be okay because I wasn't going to find anything for him. I reset out of the Baron M one because he didn't give me anything. So I'm like, okay, if I do find stuff for a Cecil like Crystal Sword, he's there and I can just go quick get him and gear him up really quickly. And I ended up getting a lot of crystal gear for him. And that Sheila 1 being the Crystal Sword, I reset out of that too, just because I didn't want to waste the time like coming down from that one. But I had that in the back of my mind, like I wanted to go get that if it ever came up. But the siege just went so long that my Yangs were really high powered and semi high powered. I think they were swinging for 2,500 apiece. That I just felt the group I had was the group I wanted to go with.
Yeah. Well, one other question on that front. How cozy are you with taking multiple Cecils and how the vanilla agility's been playing into these Zemazone 3 flags? We had it back in Zemazone 1, got rid of it for Zemazone 2. It's back here in Zemazone 3. Are you cozy having the multiple Cecils and knowing like which one is kind of basing your party's agility on? Or is this a situation where you try to go none at all if you can help it?
Let's see, the beginning of it, I wanted to go none at all, just because I hadn't seen any receivers besides the one there, and I hadn't found the second one. And I found the second one before I think I turned him into Paladins. But like the last race I did, the third race in the other stage, the last stage, I did take 2 Cecils, and I was comfortable with that, just having one be the powerhouse, and I picked up, I think, the second one. I'm just keeping him dead for the agility anchoring. So yeah, I'm good. That's not a problem.
Either way, you're ready to roll. Bad Karma, you got any questions?
Yeah, when you got to the moon and you checked that shop, didn't see sirens, what goes through your head in trying to determine how you're going to grind?
I was glad there were hourglasses. That's thing there. It's like if I can't have sirens, can I get hourglasses somewhere? And they were there. Which the grinding spot that I did is one that I have done in the past. Or if I get sirenless seeds, you just go on that floor and you turn the counters off, and the double King Ryu is there. It's more frequent, so you don't get through the siren on that level. So I think I got lucky, like 3 or 4 of them. Didn't get the life glitch off on all of them, but they were the good XP there. That was pretty safe. I don't think I ran into that double blue dragon fight on the way there, having turned it off.
Yeah, we saw the double blue dragon. You were like, no.
And I made the mistake of trying to go to Zeromus without Cure 4. One more fight did that.
Yeah, like, when's Cure 4? Where's Cure 4? When are we learning this?
Did the thought of doing any of those bosses? We saw Superpiccolo at the Dark Imps were at the D-Lunar spot.
I had thought about doing the 200,000 XP fight, the D-Lunar spot, but I just spaced it after I ran to the Blue Dragons. I'm like, crap. Or when I tried to go down without Cure 4, I just spaced that part, just went back up. That could have cost me, and that could have been an easy fight. It could have been a bad fight. It could have been Wyvern. I don't think I've run into Wyvern yet.
You did a great job of getting chat to start throwing out Z flags, and then you immediately went back upstairs. And
I totally thought of that when I did that. I'm like, I bet they're doing their spiel, and they're going to reverse it.
We take it back. It was great. Good way to, like, teasing first with the Job Dwarf and then with the Zeromus fight. You're going to get a reputation at this rate, Eykir.
Oh, shoot. I totally forgot to talk to the Job Dwarf. Oops.
Yeah, you
meant you. Oops.
Yeah, you rubbed shoulders with the Job Dwarf and just didn't turn and talk to him.
I usually do too, which I don't know why I didn't hear. The other thing I was to mention, when I first came in here, I was just asking about the Legend Sword. Did you see where that was?
Yeah, that was
Cecil. I could have completed all 4 of them because I think you needed to get the
It was from the Twin Heart.
Everything in order to get to the moon in order to fight the boss. I don't know where Pass was.
Theoretically, Pass could have been
yeah.
behind that Odin or in Baron Castle, but yeah. And I like you had the setup for that Dark Knight Cecil fight. Just one time, your first young through the Cure 3 a second early, like that same setup, but throwing it after the wave, and you had that. But
Yeah.
it didn't hamper you. You took the win. You're 1-0.
Had I done that one, I probably would have gone through Baron because that would have been 2 checks as opposed to everything else was just 1. Then would have lasted a lot longer. But it was good. It was a good seed. I enjoyed it.
So how do you feel going in? You're 1-0 now in this this next group stage. You want to get to 2-1 or 3-0. How are you feeling? Going forward.
I'm feeling good now. I think I still need some more practice. Superpiccolo looked like it was a close match, so none of these people in this group can be like written off. They're all really good.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of great matches. You guys were really close. It really just came down to some of the grinding, and honestly, it was anybody's race. It was if you had had an unfortunate wipe there, it would have been a nail biter.
Yep. When I went in, it's like, okay, I have one person I'm just not going to berserk. He's going to be the life for Porum and get her back up to Tier 4. That was the whole plan going in.
Hello.
And we are also joined by Superpiccolo. Superpiccolo GG's saw the forfeit. Rough times at the end. Kind of seed abused you a little bit there with a double Cecil setup in a few places. But you still played well. Rough times at the end. Hopefully the run back will give you some ideas on other ways to tackle that seed. How did you feel when you saw the crystal sword at Sheila 1? Did that kind of make you feel like you were validated in your party choices?
A little bit. And then having a second Avenger come up was a nice little touch too. But I remember picking up the Cursed Ring right away, and I'm like, heck, I never try Cursed Ring strats. Let's see how far 2 Cecils can go, and then I'll just try that at the end. And it clearly didn't pan out. But yeah, that was a rough one.
Yeah, that evil wall took no prisoners.
No.
Real rough with the agility setup there. Bad karma?
Yeah, well, got through to that, and then after wiping, 4 times, ended up beating him, like, all right, cool. Then I went back to the save point and used a tent instead of saving. Then went and wiped against Mist Dragon, and then wiped 3 more times against the wall. So, yeah, I learned from that one. Make certain. That's why the next time I saved in 2 slots just to say I saved it.
Yeah, there was a lot of questions in chat, and myself included. It's like I thought he walked back to save, and
Yep, and I was in the menu. I even pushed up, but then I think I pushed B and exited out of the menu instead of save. Then it just didn't even click in my mind. I'm like, okay, I just got to go fight that dragon.
yeah, one thing to remember: that dragon there, that spot will heal you before you fight it. So
Right, and that's why I was mad at myself for using a tent instead of saving.
All in all, you ran a good race, though. You did the Penguinator special, did the tower, only did the cannon.
Yep.
That definitely helped you catch up a lot. This was a really close race. Came right down to the wire there.
Yeah, I saw when he marked that he was done. I was only 3 minutes behind in the Z fight, so it really came down to the wall, and then I didn't find any sirens, so I wasn't good at the grind until I just went for the moon bosses at the end. But when Porum wiped, I didn't have any Cure 4s anymore. I had to go for it. So all in all, I don't really regret the decisions I made. I'll learn from them, move on.
Well, you're 0-1 in this in the hook route. You need to get to 2-1. How do you feel about your chances of getting a couple more wins?
It's a randomizer. Anything can happen. This was slower than my previous races by a total of I think 40 minutes. My previous slowest was 140. So this is definitely the outlier in my races, and just come back better next time.
I look forward to seeing more matches with both of you guys. You both put on a fantastic race tonight.
Yeah, GG's Eykir.
GG Superpiccolo. You can do it.
Oh, yeah, super exciting. Recommend you both watch this back. You each took very different party composition ideas, and each one paid off in its own way. and just a very exciting match. Highly recommend the replay when you each have time.
Yeah, I'll try to make the time for it.
In the meantime, it looks like we are about to close up shop here tonight on Randomania 3. We're taking you over to a Magma Route race going over on Randomania 2 between Zyrak and Zoe Vermilion. Got it pulled up on my other monitor here. It looks like there have been a ton of key items found, but no one has found the third one to get their crystal yet.
Oh.
So it looks like we're diving into a very exciting match. Bad Karma, last thoughts before we send it over?
No, I don't have any. I'm looking forward to seeing some more matches. I know we have another slate of races tomorrow night, so hopefully we'll see you all out here tomorrow.
Oh yeah, big week, big few weeks here. Everyone trying to make it to the table. And I said last word and then I spoke again. I'm so sorry. I'm bad.
Well, on that note, we'll see everybody over at Randomania 2, and you all have a good night.
You too. Thanks again, and GG's again.
GG's, thanks. To the Restream team. Thank you.
Yep. Quick shout out to our restreamer Demarine and our tracker.